And I thank God for giving me this vision. When I was praying, I saw a mystery. When I was praying, asking God, Lord, what do you have for me as a gift? I said, you know, I was born for you, not for myself. And I prayed. I said, God, what do you have for me? He showed me a vision. In that vision, I saw myself in a spiritual garden. In that garden, it's very strange. It's very strange. As I walked there, coming closer, entering that garden, there was a board written, "No more night." And I continued to walk in the garden. And when I looked down, I can see that these are plants, these are crops that have been cultivated. But they were like flowers. You see a flower with those things there? But from the stems going up, I saw now this is a light growing from a ground. And when I tried to touch one, to try and see what is this, all of a sudden, the whole garden, there's lights everywhere. Ha. And I said, what kind of a garden is this? There's light only. And the voice of God said, this light depends on a different rain. He said it does not depend on the rain which the world knows. He said this one depends on a strange rain. And I said, Lord, what kind of a rain is raining here? Because these are lights. If water can come here, obviously it will dim these lights. And it's a garden full of light. And he opened my eyes. He said, look up. When I looked up, there were drops coming down. And I thought it's water. I touched like this. It was oil coming up. It was oil. It was raining of oil, not water. Oil. And he said, these lights in this garden depend on that oil coming from above. So every time this rain touches these lights, he said the lights, they grow bigger. 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 He said that's how it is with the anointed. It's a different rain. And I found myself on my knees praising him. And he said to me, expect a strange rain in your life. He said the rain that I'm bringing to you will be strange. It's not the natural rain that people know. It's oil that will drip from above. Touching every ground. Every ground, meaning people, touching every one of them, causing them to be lights. So the more it touches them, they become part of the garden. And while that was happening, while I was praising him, he said, look back. When I turned, people were coming in. From the same board that is written, no more night. And from where they are coming from, it's dark. It's night. And they are running inside the garden. And God said, look at them. They are tired of the world. But they don't meet this kind of a garden. But I'm drawing them. He said, expect an overflow. And these are people who never knew anything about the gospel. He said, I'm going to raise people whom you never thought I can raise. And he said, some in this garden, they are just plants without the light. So he said, you see, when I turned, these people coming in. But when I looked at them, no, these are not Christians. These were drunkards, different kind of people. But now, when they go in, they're like, wow. Wow. What kind of garden is this? They didn't question. They looked at the garden and said, what kind of garden is this? Who planted this? And they touched. Just by the whole light will enter them. The whole light will, just by touching the light will, and he said, I'm going to raise such people. And he took me now to Revelations 22. The restored garden of Eden. And when I read there, I saw it was written, there will be no more night. But the kind of garden that God showed me, it was the garden of light. One thing you will ask yourself, how can light grow out of the soil of a ground? You will know this is not man. This is not men. These are the works of God. Why? Because how can light grow out of soil, of a ground? It's impossible. You can't cool it from Intabatini. But God said, I'm doing this to prove that I'm with you. And no one shall ever stand against you. That's the last statement he said to me. He said, no one will ever stand against you. And he said, I've raised you for myself. Then after that vision, I knew the natural birth has been conquered. If God says, I've raised you for myself, I knew the natural birth has lost its power. So expect next year, never found yourself being a plant without the light. You see, when Elijah met with the woman, she had bread. But for bread to multiply, it needed oil. So what rained in that house? It was not natural rain. It was the rain of oil to multiply the bread. She actually needed oil to be fruitful. And where there's oil, there's light. Oil is used for light. So she was able to multiply bread and also to have enough oil for the light. Bread with light. Bread with what? With light. Jesus says, I'm the bread. I'm the light. Two things he said. I'm the bread, I'm the light. Bread with light. Not bread with yeast. If the bread has yeast, it doesn't have light. But if bread has light, it has enough oil to multiply. Because what's the purpose of yeast? It's to make it bigger. But if you have enough oil, no need to force it to grow. Because the oil is enough. I can bake much bread because I have enough oil. I don't need yeast. So this is what will show you that this is God at work. He doesn't add yeast to cause it to grow, but he adds oil. No, that's why I saw those lights receiving oil from above. When you have enough oil, no need for yeast. So the woman was baking a different bread after Elijah came to his house. The one that she wanted to bake was supposed to have yeast, so that it can be enough for today and tomorrow. So Elijah took her out of days. Where there's enough oil, it is good. No more night, woman. No more night. So it's a garden with no more night. Come, let's enter. Come, let's enter. Step into the garden. Step there. No more night. It is good. It is good. It's the garden of light with enough oil. With enough oil. You don't find yeast there. People don't eat wrong bread. They don't pray and say, give us today our daily bread and receive yeast. So the bread does not come alone. It comes with oil. You are supplied bread with oil. It's the seed with bread and reproducing the seed. It does not end. It does not end. This is what God revealed to me. I was like, oh, wow. What kind of a guidance is this? There's no need to convince anyone about that guidance. Just the moment they step in, their eyes are shocked. What kind of garden is this? What kind of a garden is this? And when you are there, you will wait for rain. Because you want to see what will happen to this light. When the rain comes, it's oil. When the rain comes, it's what? It's oil. If bread is given with yeast, it cannot multiply. Because already it has been made to grow in a wrong manner, to expand. But if it's broken, there's no yeast. There's no yeast. So Jesus became the bread of life, broken for all of us, because he conquered the natural.